guys, welcome to 9th grade science class. I'm Miss McCracken and this is the lovely.
I'm Miss Beard and today we're going to learn about barometers.
Yeah, so here we have a picture of what a barometer looks like on an electronic device that you can download, and we're going to talk about what you guys think this is. So there's many different kinds. This is just a picture of one of the kinds we have.
This is known as an electric barometer.
It is.
Easier to use.
Much easier. So, we're going to get your guys' ideas of what you guys think a barometer could be used for.
So, Mr. Zach, what do you think a barometer can be used for?
Good point, Zach. It definitely measures something related to weather. Anyone else have any other ideas?
Sheila, what's your idea?
Very good point, Sheila. Okay, so now that you guys got some of your ideas, Miss Beard is going to give a basic explanation of what a barometer is.
Those were all wonderful ideas, and we were all basically in the same ballpark. And what a barometer is, it actually measures what's called atmospheric pressure in the air.
Yeah. So now that you guys kind of know what a barometer is and what it measures after that explanation, we're going to have you guys work in groups to discuss what you guys think a barometer can be important for, or what it's used, what it's used for. So we're going to have you guys split up into groups of 3, and you're each going to have different roles. So we're going to have one of you guys will be the leader of the group, one of you guys will be the timekeeper, and another will be the note taker. And we'll give you guys about 5-6 minutes for that.
5 to 6 minutes.
All right. Cool. Some time has passed. All right. Now that you guys have had some time to discuss this in your groups, can I have the leader of each group share some of the ideas you guys came up with and that your note taker wrote down? All right. Yes, Timmy? Yeah, good point. It definitely does give you an idea of what weather will look like, and yeah, it's a very important thing to know.
Sheila, what does your group have?
Very good point, Sheila. And okay, now that you guys have given us some ideas of why this is relevant or important to you guys, we're just going to go over some other reasons why it's valuable to know what a barometer is and how to use it. So one of the main reasons is what you guys kind of brought up is that it kind of helps you with predicting and understanding what the weather is going to look like. And this is something that affects your everyday lives, like what you're going to wear, how hot is it going to be tomorrow, those kind of things, which is generally good to know, and how to plan your life accordingly to that. And it can also come into future careers you guys might have, like if you want to study weather or be a
meteorologist, or you want to fly a plane and be a pilot, you need to know what the atmosphere is going to be like, stuff like that.
So we give you guys a general idea of how this is going to be important for you guys. And so throughout this lesson, we've already talked about what a barometer is and measures, and for the rest of it, we're going to talk about what affects atmospheric pressure and how a barometer measures that. And eventually we're going to get to the point where we can practice using it and keep track of atmospheric pressure for the next week using a barometer. So, since we talked about what a barometer is, we're going to now talk about what affects atmospheric pressure. So,
the first thing we talk about is fast drop. Now, does anyone have any idea what fast drop means?
Sheila? Yeah, that's a good point. It could have something to do with weather changing. And anyone else have any ideas?
Timmy, what's your idea?
Yeah, you're on the right track, Timmy. Okay. And
so what it really actually means that if it's low pressure coming, it's going to be windy, cloudy, or rainy weather.
Yeah. So if you guys kind of have the idea of what a fast drop in an atmospheric pressure would look like, what do you guys think a high rise or sudden rise in atmospheric pressure would indicate? Anyone have any ideas? All right, good point, Sheila. It's probably, since a low drop or a drop in atmospheric pressure would mean it's bad weather, it probably makes sense that a high rise in it would mean good weather. So, yeah, basically if there's a rise in atmospheric pressure, then that would indicate that a high pressure system is coming, which generally means good, dry, clear, fair weather. So now that we've kind of talked about how atmospheric pressure changes, and we're going to see how that affects the readings on a barometer. So basically a barometer shows whether there's a high or low pressure system coming, like we were talking about just now. And looking at the general pressure, or the current altitude, where your current altitude is, you can see in comparison whether the current atmospheric pressure is higher or lower than normal. And if higher,
higher, it means that it's good weather, and if it's lower, it means that it's bad weather.
Yeah.
Preferably, we would want to have better weather, so higher pressure.
Yeah. So now you guys kind of have a general idea of what a barometer is and what it measures. We can now practice using it. And here, like we showed you in the beginning of class, that's a picture of a barometer, which you can have on an app on a smartphone. And there's other barometers you can use which you can pass around, or you could also find them online with a laptop or a tablet, or download this kind of app onto your own smartphone. Okay, so now that you guys all have a barometer, we're going to practice going through this with the task analysis on how you're going to record data from a barometer and chart it in a graph and data table we have provided.
This is used over a course of about a week.
Yeah.
So you can gather all the weather and come to a conclusion.
Yep. So, to begin with, open up your barometer or whatever device you're using to look at this. And once you guys have that, next step is to make sure that your barometer is in the units millibar, which is what we have up here. And if it's not, then you can change it going to the settings, or we can, And now that you've done that, we can look at the absolute pressure listed on the barometer, which is the one listed here.
The one on the very bottom.
Yeah.
You want the very bottom, not the top.
Yeah.
The top is sea level. We're not doing sea level, we're doing the bottom one.
We're not.
That is important to know when reading a barometer.
Yep. And once you guys have found that, I want you guys to write the pressure listed in the data table provided with the correct units. So, if you see that it is listed as 998.01, we'll write that here. Okay. And now that we have that listed, we're going to find the pressure at sea level that is listed on the barometer, which here we can see is 993 millibars. And using reasoning with this data, you can write down a prediction for what the weather should look like based off of whether the absolute pressure listed is higher or lower than this one listed here. And so as we discussed before, if it is higher, that generally means that good weather is coming. So in the table here, you can write good weather based off of what we've talked about in class already. And the next step of this is to graph and chart this data, also in the graph provided here. And first you need to make sure you have your graph set up correctly. And so on your y-axis, you'll want the different pressures listed in millibars. And on the x-axis, you'll have the days listed, so day 1 through day 7. And once you have that set up and make sure it's correct, you will draw a point that marks the day and pressure listed on the data table. So as we have here, 998, which will be at about here. And that's all we have to do for that. And so for each day, we're going to repeat this process. And so right now, we are going to have you guys work individually or in small groups to go through this task analysis for atmospheric pressure. We're going to do the current day that is on your barometers. And while you guys are working on this, we'll be walking around to make sure you guys understand what's going on and answer any questions you guys might have. Alright class, now that you guys have had some time to work on your own atmospheric pressure, data table, and graph, come back together. And yeah, so you guys have learned a lot about how to use a barometer and have a better understanding of how atmospheric pressure affects your daily lives, mainly to do with weather, which discussed here with our data table and predictions we're going to make.
Okay, and then throughout the week, we would like you to graph it and see if you can predict what the weather is like. And because we're running out of time, we would like you to do an exit slip and name some things that you learned about